first pitch. And Correa lines it deep to right field. Judge is going back at the wall, looking up. See you later! See you later! See you later!
Plate for Correa as he stops on home plate for an exclamation point. We're tied at 1 apiece.
Excellent.
Holy on smoke!
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year! Or as they said, or as Eddie Murphy famously said in the legendary movie Trading Places, as I push all the right buttons here. Merry New Year! Yes, we made it to 2022. Good morning, and welcome to the first show of 2022, the first Snowman in the morning of the new year. It is 11:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10:05 Central Standard Time, as my buddy Cole Johnson joins me to welcome in the new year. Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year as well to you.
There is chaos to be discussed. Lots and lots of chaos. Normally, the regular season in the NFL would end after week 17.
Right.
But for some stupid reason, the Shield said, let's do it again next weekend.
Money, 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 money.
And that is the reason I hate 18 weeks. When they did it in 1993, they at least included a second bye week.
Yeah, right.
They at least included a second bye week, which proved very, very fruitful for the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys, as they were the Final Four in 1993. And, of course, it was the Cowboys and the Bills that met in the Super Bowl. As I said, welcome to the Manic Monday edition, the first Manic Monday edition of the year of 2022. And we're happy you're with us. You can text the show at any time. You see the number on your screen for those of you watching us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, as a matter of fact. And then there's Antonio Clown. And I'm not changing that word. We're going to touch all of that over the next 120 minutes, or more than 120 minutes. Ohio State and Utah gave us the best bowl game of the season. I don't care what happens next Monday in Indianapolis, only because I'm not there. Let me change my sentence. Only because we're not there in Lucas Oil Stadium to cover it. I don't care. We'll touch that also. Announcement that my girl Megan Price, the Queen of Hoop and hostess of the Sip Off and one of the hostesses of the NBA Carousel, is now a weekly guest. She'll join me on Thursdays. And the NBA is where I'm going to open the show this morning. I sent you a letter, Cole, and I think you know how to sign it. Dear Brooklyn Mess, look up. Signed,
The Chicago Bulls.
Indeed. Thanks to DeMar DeRozan, not only closing the old year with a buzzer beater, a one-legged Dirk Nowitzki / Steph Curry buzzer beater, but he opened the new year in the nation's capital. Different location, in the corner, same result. Buzzer sounds, ball goes in, and the television play-by-play man, whose name escapes me right now for the Chicago Bulls, said it best. DC will let ourselves out. And it's looking more like the Bulls and the Warriors in the NBA World Championship Series, though I wouldn't mind the Milwaukee Bucks making it back to the World Championship Series to defend their title. And Cole, I begin my first question of the year to you. Why do people doubt me when I said at the top of the year, and you were with me, Bucks, Bulls, East Finals? Why do people doubt that? Why do people doubt me when I say that? I tried to tell you guys.
Well, they doubt it because of the Bulls part. The Bucks part, they didn't doubt as much.
Mhm.
Now they started to doubt a little bit that though, the way the Bucks started out. But now the Bucks are
But-
also knocking on the door to the top seed in the East too.
But
So
didn't we say the Bucks would figure it out?
yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
you and I say on this program, Megan with us, Jennifer Lewis with us, Eric Wilson with it? Didn't we say they'd figure it out?
Yeah, yeah. And I actually said the words. I'm not worried about them. I think they
You
were
did.
like
But neither
6-9 or
they
5-8
were
or something
they
like
were
that.
6-8,
Yeah,
and we
6
both
and 8, yeah.
said, "What? Worry
Oh,
about
yeah.
them?
No.
The hell for?"
They'll right the ship, figure it out, and you'll see them at the end.
And plus, the best
that's what's
part,
happening.
the best part that pleases me, because I've seen it done before over the course of 44 years. You also, with 4 decades plus of NBA viewing, they're the defending world champions.
Yeah, it's just something
There's
about
something about the Lakers went through it in 1982. The Bulls went through it several times. The Detroit Pistons went through it a couple of. The Bucks are the defending world champions.
yeah,
So why wouldn't they be able to right the ship?
yeah. They'd right the ship, and I think what people for some reason fail to mention is the running narrative with every defending champion. Every team will they give him their best shot. Every team will give the
Yes.
defending champion their best shot. No matter if they're the lowest on the totem pole or the highest, because they are the most recent measuring stick as to if those teams think they can compete with them as a serious contender. So
But that's
The-
isn't that
the
the
Bucks-
best part though
that is
of being the
Bucks-
defending champions?
Yeah. So the Bucks caught it. They didn't quite know how to handle it. Plus they had injuries to also deal with as well. And then when they started to heal up and they started to gain the confidence in this particular team, look where they are now.
And all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
And all hell broke. I think it Bucks Bulls in the East Finals in May. It just depends on who gets the number 1 seed. Because it ain't gonna
Yeah.
be Brooklyn. It ain't gonna be Philadelphia. It sure as hell.
It's definitely not gonna be Philadelphia.
It's not gonna be Philadelphia. It sure as hell ain't gonna be Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn is starting to fall by the wayside right now. They're starting to fall by the wayside right now. Okay? And what also did I say? It would fall on the shoulders of whom, kind sir?
It would be Kevin Durant. Which it has.
You see it now. See, it didn't happen last year until April.
Yeah, until about the time the playoffs were about to begin.
Until
Yeah.
the playoffs, Kyrie Irving decided to show a little bit of semblance of what he can bring to the team, which in this humble man's opinion ain't much. And I've said that about Kyrie Irving over the course of his entire career. We already know what James Harden does in the playoffs. He plays Houdini and disappears.
Just vanishes in thin air.
Meanwhile, you have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine and the Bulls. You have the reigning MVP and Giannis Antetokounmpo and the world champion Bucks finding their footing. And I'll say it again. I would not have a rooting interest in the East Finals. I know I would just be locked in for 7 wonderful games. I would privately have a rooting interest because the Bulls are involved. And the Bulls need a little bit of revenge against the NBA for 2011. Because against the Heatles, and I am proud to say this, and people still call it a theory, but if you go back and look at that series, the Bulls got royally screwed in 2011. Because how can you explain the Bulls blowing out Miami by 21 points in the United Center, up 7 at the end of 1, and then the whistles are swallowed?
See,
I'm
the
sorry,
team they were
what was that song you
playing-
opened the show with again?
Oh. Dum dum dum
We got to bring the OJs in.
money.
That's the only way you can The only way you can explain what the hell happened in the East Finals in 2011. That's the only way you can explain it.
Yes, I was going to ask. See, who were they playing against? It was this team in Miami.
Yep.
There was the first year of that guy who said he was going to take his talents to South Beach, and oh yeah, and that's why you had a 4-1 series victory in that year's Eastern Conference Finals.
You know what? That should have been 4-1 Bulls. The hell with the parody. That should have been 4-1 Bulls because how do you because the Bulls were healthy until they lost Omer Ashik. In the immortal words of Stacey King, Ashik and destroy. And it all was heaped on the shoulders of Derrick Rose. That was a setup. But back to this year's Eastern Conference Final, which is going to be at Donnybrook at the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee and the United Center in Chicago. It's going to be up I-94. It's going to be up I-94. And I'll repeat something you said about these Bulls. The camaraderie and the chemistry is off the charts.
It's crazy seeing how they gel. I was saying this to another Bulls fan. I said, they're playing on the court as if they have been together for years, like a couple of years or so, instead of like a couple of months.
Right.
And you can see the brotherhood on the court. But one of the things I love, and I think this is a good sign of a team's success, is anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be the star of the team.
Yeah.
It just so happens to be in the last 2 games for the Bulls that's ended, their star came through with buckets that pulled victory out of the jaws of defeat. But definitely, and I will point to the shot he made in DC. Once the shot went in, I saw nothing but red jerseys mob.
Yep.
DeRozan.
Same in Indianapolis.
And in Indianapolis, the only difference was I saw black jerseys mob him.
Yep.
But it's that energy that you want to see a team have when you see someone help the team succeed and get that W. It's not about, I did it. It's about we did it. And when you have that already, and you don't have to search for the chemistry, you don't have to search for the...
Unlike Brooklyn, unlike Philadelphia, unlike Boston. Yeah.
You don't have to search for the roles that you play.
Right. Yep.
It just gets easy. And right now, and I said this to you, the game they played in Boston when they were down by 14 going to the fourth quarter, and they beat them by 14 at the end of the fourth
going
quarter.
Away. Won by 14.
That speaks to the team's chemistry, how they have bonded. It's unreal because the way they are playing, you would expect them to be this way next year, not now. Yeah, and the way they are playing now, I admire them.
They are well ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
that's the best part about this team. They are well ahead of schedule, and the low-key move that the Bulls made is paying off immediately. Them snatching DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso, especially DeRozan, because DeRozan, after he left San Antonio, that DeRozan deal was really slept on because no one expected DeRozan to do what he's doing. That one-legged three-pointer in Indianapolis to win the game. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki would be proud.
Yeah, he would. Today's NBA fan, I thought DeRozan didn't have a three-point shot.
He had a three-point shot in Texas.
Yeah.
He had a three-point shot in Canada. Okay?
See,
he had a three-point shot. He always had a three-point shot.
Yes, always had. Here's the problem. When you have a guy who does what he does best, people mistake what he does best for what he can only do. He's best in the mid-range. That is his game, and I love that about him.
And he has torn the Eastern Conference apart with
But just
with that part of the game that has been lost for so long.
right. But
Among mostly everybody in the NBA.
Right.
Mostly everybody. That mid-range game has been lost, except for DeMar DeRozan and a few others. And I don't include Paul George in that bunch.
Well, he's sometimey. But just because, I mean, it's true. I mean, but
It
just
is
because-
true.
But just because DeRozan has a strong mid-game range and he loves to go to it because, well, heck, who can stop him in that range? Does not mean he could do right. Nobody. Does not mean that he is ill-equipped to do anything else. Like he can't slash. Like he can't do layups. Like he can't do pump fakes. Like the three in DC to win the game. That was a beautiful pump fake to draw the first defender to have him sail into the
Sailing
press.
to the bench. Yep.
Yeah, sail to the bench in the press. And this guy's game is hugely slept on. Hugely.
There's a part of his game that reminds me of the legendary Julius Erving, because Julius Erving will fake the hell out of you.
Yeah.
In a minute.
Yeah.
Julius Erving did that to win a championship. Anybody remember May 1st, 1983 in the Forum? He beat Magic with a pump fake and then drilled an 18-footer.
Yeah.
But no, people don't want to talk about that, and I'll discuss that later in the hour. You see the number across your screen, but for those of you tuning in via the End Zone Sports Network, I'll talk about that at the end of the show. Real Wise Radio and full press coverage, Sideline Sports and our other affiliates. The number's 919-247-3622. That's how you can text us throughout the course of the show. And we're going to go to a quick break. That's just the Eastern Conference part of it. We ain't touched the Western Conference yet. And I'm looking so forward to talking about the Western Conference because, there's success and there's failure. Lots and lots of failure in one city. Tune into the show every day, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and you can hear us across all of our audio networks. SiriusXM, we're coming for that spot. Back in a minute.
I want to get back to seeing my grandbabies every Sunday and smothering them with big hugs and kisses.
I want to get back to football games with my boys.
I want to get back to feeling and touching, connecting with the people around me.
I want to get back to family dinners and my grandma's mac and cheese.
I want to get back to real grocery shopping, taking my time, walking down every aisle, smelling the tomatoes and melons, having a free sample or two, or three.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the first step that let us get back to feeling optimistic about the days ahead of us. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I get it?
Should I wait?
Now, get the facts. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a single father of 2 who works 3
part-time jobs and still can't put enough food on the table?
Or maybe a mother who cleans offices at night
hoping to find meeting leftovers to take home to her hungry family.
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time
landing a job and getting back on his feet.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Indeed it is. The first Manic Monday edition of 2022. Yours truly riding with Cole Johnson riding the shotgun. And Cole, don't you have something coming back this week?
Yes.
Shameless plug time. Go.
Oh, well. I put it on the shelf, and I can't believe it's actually been a year, but I'm glad I did shelve it for a year. But I'm coming back with it on the daily, Monday through Friday. It's basically nothing more than 10 to 15 minutes of a sports story that's out there that would probably be current, and some retro, some evergreen, but all entertaining, humorous, and you wonder why we do Bronze Sexual Confessions. Well, it was originated with the series that I did on YouTube, and you only find it on YouTube.
Yep.
And it was called Bronze Sexual Confessions, and it was a response to the thought process of, I do not want to have every single thing that I talk about in whatever sports vernacular I do be surrounded by LeBron James. So let me just shrink it into one particular time during the week where I speak everything him, and every other day I do not speak his name at all. So it was generated from that, and people have loved that segment a lot.
Yep.
And
me being one of the biggest fans.
Yeah.
Of said segment.
Yeah. So and along with it, I also do one segment a week. It's called The List, where I take a topic and I give you like 4 or 5 or 6 reasons why this thing might be or might not be something. I also look at something or somebody and I assign this a tone deaf and explain why this is tone deaf.
I know you got some beauties coming up this year.
Oh yeah. I also take what I see in terms of I can see 2 sides of things, and I do a point counterpoint. I also look at something that is dolt of the week worthy, and yeah, that's a not so subtle hint. But I don't assign it dolt of the week. I assign it. We gotta pause that. And things sometimes that irk me, or things that bring me joy, I whip out the email. So you have that coming, and the mothership is also returning. That's right, Cole Sports, the brand, the podcast brand, that's coming back. 1 show a week, and you look for it on YouTube, and also you can download it on Spreaker. So yeah, we're coming back. We're coming hard. 2022. Look out for Cole Sports being bigger, badder, and better than ever.
Then I will also add this: Cole Sports, the weekly podcast, and on the daily, will also be entertained on the End Zone Sports Network, making things a little easy. Speaking of easy, why are the Golden State Warriors making winning look easy? We talked about what happened Christmas Day in Phoenix.
Oh, beautiful brand of from both teams.
Yes.
Beautiful brand of basketball.
Yes.
Beautiful brand of basketball. Yes.
How can Utah score 41 points in one period and allow the Warriors to score 37 in the most important period, which, of course, is the money period.
See, this is the dilemma that is the Utah Jazz. They supposedly they are the best defensive team in the league because they have the multi-time defensive player of the year and Rudy Gobert on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have found yourself the last couple of years saying, okay, I know they're a team on the come up, they're a team on the rise, they're a team that has next, and you're waiting for them to claim the next. And meanwhile, you've had a couple of teams already bypass them. The Suns being one, the Clippers being another, and now now you got to add another one in the Warriors coming back to reclaim the next. And Utah is still in that holding pattern of, yeah, we're really good and we can give you a fight. But then they have these inexplicable collapses like what you just mentioned, that makes you say, I just can't get on board with this team.
Me neither. And oh boy, I know a lot of Jazz fans. I've interacted with a few of them.
I know a couple myself, yeah.
They've been in a holding pattern since June 14th, 1998.
Well, they've been in what's the words? Yeah, they've been in a perpetual state of unrest and anger.
Since June 14th, 1998. Many remember the date. That's Michael Jordan's 45-point game to close out Utah and win the Bulls' 6th World Championship. And and the most beautiful thing about this Warrior team, it's not Steph Curry every night. Most nights, yes, but then we talked about the Bulls having. Yeah, I know you're sharpening your knuckles. I hear them.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the Bulls and their under the radar signing of DeMar DeRozan. How about the Warriors and their under the radar signing of one Otto Porter Jr.,
who gets very little love being a two-way player.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that, right? He gets very little love mentioned that he's an all-around player.
Yeah, because no one expected anything out of Otto Porter Jr., and for that matter, the Warriors or Phoenix.
I'm about to say, you can name any of the Warriors, and definitely, yeah, they people. I've actually heard analysts actually say, "quote Oh, I expect the Suns to take a step back this year." Close quote.
I've heard that.
I'm like, man, don't play that team for stupid, and because they're gonna
sleep on those guys.
Yeah, they're gonna disappoint you if you feel as though that they're going to take a step back, and you thought their best shot was last year. Maybe not, And as for the Warriors, and this I know will fuel a future email from you. There are many people who I have heard, many fans, and I've heard a couple of analysts too, but this basically is directed to today's NBA fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of them say, because of the fact that they're looking at this team, the Warriors, I mean, and they realize this isn't a one-man show, people are starting to say, well, you know what, when we were getting to December, I was saying basically the MVP race is Curry and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, seeing Curry now, I have to take that vote back because all he does is chunk up threes. I'm like, oh boy, okay.
Now, by a show of hands, who saw that comment coming?
oh Lord, I don't think I've had my hand shoot up that fast in a long time. But But this is the thing. It's like people think that the Bulls, for example, they think the Bulls are DeMar DeRozan and everybody else. They think the Nets are Kevin Durant and everybody else. To a degree, that's true, but to a large degree, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
They think the same thing with the Suns and Chris Paul, and Chris Paul's not their leading scorer.
Right.
They think the same thing with the Warriors and Stephen Curry.
What did I say about the Suns after the first time they played the Warriors? Jay Crowder kicked our ass. In the second half of that game, in Phoenix at America West Arena. I don't care what it's called now. It's America West Arena.
Yeah.
Jay Crowder whooped our ass. And I'm proud of that because Jay Crowder gets no love on the Phoenix Suns. None.
No. You have to give the love to the either role players or the players who are not the number one or number two option on the team, because the more you have the camaraderie of those who basically take the big shot and they're not the number one guy on the team, normally the further the team goes in the season, you want to have, in the Warriors case for sure, you want to have Porter deliver on Christmas Day. And you want to have, and also on Christmas Day too. You want to have Draymond hit that key assist at the key moment. You want them to have Gary Payton Jr. get the steal that you need,
and you got 3 of them in that fourth quarter in Phoenix,
right? Or Jordan Poole just lighting people up. This team is not just Stephen Curry.
You want to have. Oh, here's a name that'll frighten people. You want to have Andre Iguodala rediscover the fountain of youth this year.
Yeah. Now, I have said, and I still continue to say this because it's just absolutely true. You would be a fool not to see it. Since 2009, Stephen Curry has been the straw which stirs the Warriors' drink. And that still remains true. However, you're talking about a straw that loves to mix in everything and everybody. And when you have that type of star be that unselfish, that means you're going to have many get the spotlight. When did we talk about Andrew Wiggins being an important contributor to the Warriors until this year? That's what I'm talking about.
And Andrew was not doing much in the NBA until Steve Kerr and the brass plucked him away. Now, Andrew Wiggins, let me think here. Andrew Wiggins was like Iguodala before Iguodala came back. That one piece, that's a jackknife piece. And who the hell said Nemanja Bjelica wouldn't be a big contributor for Golden State? That big man is Andrew Bogut, only shorter.
And what makes this all the more impressive is they're still without James Wiseman. And they're still without Klay Thompson.
And we're into January. And they're faring better without Klay than they did without DeMarcus Cousins. And I'm saying nothing against DeMarcus Cousins signing with the Warriors, which made me laugh my head off. And I went on air the next day after they did that. But it's a more cohesive unit now.
And riddle me this, Batman. Isn't that what you want your basketball team to be? A well-oiled machine and a cohesive unit than a one-man show that drags everybody else along with him?
Don't you want the team to be a great unit rather than one man trying to do everything? Now, if you're forced to do everything, like the situation is in Brooklyn and will be in Brooklyn.
That's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. That's different. 450 miles south in Los Angeles, you have 2 teams that think they can rely with identical records. Absolutely. With identical records that rely on one person to do the dirty deeds. And now it was thrown out there during the New Year's break that the Lakers would possibly be seeking a trade for Russell Westbrook.
Well, I mean, that's been in the offing for the last 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
it just got louder during the holidays.
Yeah.
Considering
Now,
the Lakers came all the way back from 20 plus and still lost.
only to lose still, yeah. I mean, well, we've seen the ridiculous offers. I won't even go through them because they're so comical. But this
Oh, you
goes
mean
to
like Westbrook for Ben Simmons?
Yes, Westbrook for Ben Simmons. Westbrook for a couple of pieces, pieces that the Pacers wouldn't part with.
The Pacers aren't that stupid.
No, of course they're not that stupid. And of course,
the Lakers were stupid for trading for his ass in the first place. But I digress.
Yeah, and of course you had the couple of ridiculous Westbrook for Kyrie. So.
Whoa! Time. What?
Yeah.
I missed that. I've slept since the holiday, but I missed that one.
Yeah, who would
Westbrook for Kyrie? Who wants the headache?
Yeah, and unfortunately that goes both ways. Although Westbrook is less of the headache, but it just goes to show that LeBron, people think he has this basketball IQ that's out the gym,
Which it
and
ain't.
he doesn't, because he's surrounding himself with pieces that only has to have him shoulder more of the load that he needs to.
Not
and
to
he
mention
knows
pieces that are old as hell.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want to curry many players? Maybe one, possibly two, but why would you have to have 4 or 5 to be around the same age as you are? And how many miles you got on your own body. But you have Westbrook,
but people don't want to listen to that logic.
No, you have Westbrook who's close to that. I mean, I know he's not 37, but he's 33, and he has some mileage. He has some tread on his tires as was wearing thin. You have Melo, who is your age and who came into the league the same year as you. The tread is worn on their tires. His tires just as worn as yours,
if not worse.
If not worse. And then you have Dwight Howard, who you would probably consider to be your best defender on your team, and he is no spring chicken himself. And you ask for these pieces. Rajon Rondo, who
is gone.
Yeah, who he's only 4 or 5 years younger in terms of body, but still tread of the tires. He's out. He's now Cavalier. So he's happy because he's actually playing on Contender now. And people are scratching their head wondering, and I find it hilarious that people are scratching their head wondering, well, we thought that this would be a championship piece, but good Lord, LeBron is doing it all by himself. He can't do it all by himself. Well, that's just how he rolls. And I think people don't want to admit that. That's how he rolls.
Not to mention, the best player on the Los Angeles Lakers, and contrary to popular belief, it is not LeBron.
Yeah, he's injured.
Is gone for, quote,
they say
at least a month, close quote, but for me, for the season. And that's Anthony Davis.
Well,
Anthony Davis is the best player on that team, and he's gone.
I will say, if he's not gone for the rest of the year, he might as well be, because you've seen many injuries involving the knees, as have I, and those are not injuries where you can just simply wake up and say, oh yeah, it's good, we're ready to roll. Especially when he says he heard a pop in it. That means to me, surgery is in the near future for him, if that is the case.
Very near. You would think he'd want to get that done and start the recovery process. But I think he's waiting and weighing his options.
Yeah.
Because I keep posing the question, and I'm going to give you a layup for your series. Anthony Davis, why didn't you just go home? You had a chance to make a mark, your own mark, a better mark than you did in New Orleans. Because in New Orleans, they did you dirty and didn't surround you with the best possible players for that team to compete outside of the first round in 2018 when they swept Portland. And I'll get to them later in the week. Anthony Davis, why didn't you go elsewhere? Because before all the decisions came down, there were two teams that fit Anthony Davis perfectly. One in Chicago, one in San Francisco. And yet he chose to be second fiddle to LeBron and company. Now he's like the fourth or fifth fiddle because of all the players that they signed. And it's just sad to see his career. Now, I'm talking about Anthony Davis. When he's healthy, he's on. All right? That's just a simple truth.
He's one of the 5 best players on the planet when he's on.
When he's on.
There's no debate.
Nope.
There
won't be.
And to me, he's the second. To me, he's the second best two-way player in the league. To me, Giannis is the best. And when he is on, both sides of the floor benefits and the whole team benefits.
Yes. Yes. And yet, nothing is happening to change that.
No, in fact, now we have a new thing to rave about with LeBron.
We do.
Yeah, I know you've heard it. Just when we think he couldn't do this, now he can play center. And in the time he has started at center, he has amassed 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks. I saw that ridiculous graphic last about I think a day or two ago, and I'm saying to myself, this is just yet another thing that you all want to say.
You mean the graphic where he was surrounded by 4 of the greatest centers to ever play in the NBA?
Now that one made me ill.
Okay, so it's a different graphic that you saw.
It's a different graphic, yeah, because that one was his very first
one that
start.
you sent. The one that you sent me had bile in the back of my throat after I threw up. The one that you sent me, like I said, had bile in the back of my throat after I threw up.
You know, I'm sad. I'm like, you giving this guy such props, and then you have the audacity to put Kareem, Bill Russell, Hakeem, and Shaq in the picture. No. He can't even. He couldn't even shine any of those 4's shoes when it comes to being a center. He's a small forward. Let him be a small forward. Don't try to put him in the pantheon where he wouldn't even reach. He wouldn't even reach the dirt, let alone the air of those giants.
And what makes it so bad? What makes it so bad? He didn't start center because he wanted to. He started center because of necessity with the injuries.
Yeah, it was necessity. Right. It was necessity.
He started in the pivot, didn't stay in the pivot, mind y'all.
No, because here's the funny thing about that. So when people wanted to rave about, well, man, LeBron makes this look easy at center. You know all I saw? I saw nothing but 3-pointers. I'm like, that is not behavior. Or that's not behavior of a center. That's behavior of a wing player. A wing player, a shooting guard, or a small forward. That's what they do.
And they want to bring the two together. They want to blur the lines when it comes to this guy so bad. And I'm talking about woke NBA fans, modern NBA fans, and, of course, that 4-letter network that keeps shoving him down our throats.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, it's like you almost have to do a spoof breaking news alert. This just in, LeBron is the youngest to reach this milestone. This just in, LeBron is the oldest to reach this milestone.
And I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of the narrative being, we have never seen anyone do what LeBron has done at this age. Want to bet?
For example, with that. So, of course, he just blew his candles off the 37th birthday a week ago. And now we already have Here's a guy at 37 averaging 28 points. The next highest total is Kareem. I think it was like 21 or 22. And I'm saying to myself, you all have to reach that hard.
And that low.
You have to reach that hard and that low to come up with totals to justify your deity to him. I don't get it. Okay, fine. He's 37. He's playing his 19th year, and he's actually playing pretty well. Fine, but
he's chasing ghosts.
Well, yeah, one, he's chasing ghosts. Two,
didn't we establish that already? That he's chasing ghosts.
Mm-hmm. One, he's chasing ghosts. Two, he's only in it because, well, I'd say three reasons. He's still playing in the NBA because he wants to be the first 40,000 point, 10,000 rebound, 10,000 assist guy. So basically, he's wanting to chase those three marks.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to be on the court when his son Bronny supposedly gets into the NBA.
And who says his son will make it?
Yeah. And
who says his son will make it to the NBA? I think that reason right there is what he's really waiting for.
I think that's the biggest one right there.
That's what he's really waiting for. He wants to try to put Bronny in. He wants to try to put Bronny in control of the NBA, and say that the NBA is in
good hands.
Thank you.
Now I can leave. Yeah.
Thank you.
And on top of that, the lowest of the three to me is I think he will get his jollies if he were to say that he was on a team that won another world championship and submit his legacy as a Laker, as a legendary Laker.
He submitted his legacy
be the
as
hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He submitted his legacy, as far as I'm concerned, as a fantastic athlete.
And yeah, that will never be questioned.
That will never be questioned.
Yeah.
Submitting his basketball legacy, he still has a long way to go, in my opinion, even in the year 19.
Right. So you have all of that going for this man, and that's his focus and aim. And okay, fine. So he averages 28 points as a